So I'm just leaving the library, which is my favorite place in the entire world, and I sat down for a moment to take a gander at the extended version of Rumi. And this man, a pedantic, if you will, decided to approach me and say, "Did you know that Rumi used to go to the mountaintop in order to commune with God, so that way he can transmute all of that wisdom and pass it on to us?" And I said, "Perhaps." Or perhaps the only way to be able to write about unconditional love and regard of humanity is to remove yourself from humanity. He was very offended and he said, "No, you are very wrong. He would write to God and from God." And I said, "Perhaps." Or perhaps his version for longing and love, his ecstasy, was about a gay lover, his best friend of whom he wrote about in the terms of friendship, where he wasn't able to express it because it would be to his own demise. Perhaps his version of a projection of a magical being in the world was the only way that he could actually allow his fullest expression of what love and divinity is. Again, he didn't like what I had to say. To which he said, "You, young lady, don't know Rumi." And I said, "Thank you for the compliment. You, older gentleman, don't either." This is just another example of the architecture of assumption, where we see the best of us, an invitation to what we want to embody, and some what we do embody in the idols of before and now. And then we see the worst of us in judgment and repulsion to the ones that mirror our reality, our shadow, our inability to accept the space between our self-interest and our self-preservation. A simple example of this assumption is I remember reading how Hemingway said he would rise with the sun and write, and his writing would heat up with the sun. And I believe that to be so profound until I visited Hemingway's actual writing studio and I discovered that it was 4,000 degrees in there. So he meant that literally. He didn't wake up with the sun because he was communing with God. He was racing the heat of the reality of being very close to the equator while also being an alcoholic, which then only made his heat from the whiskey he drank exponential. I don't believe this makes his writing or mystical writing any less mystical or profound. I actually believe it finally hits in reality, where we take that which is meant to be outside of the realm of our humanity and we integrate it. It isn't either or, it is both and. You can commune with God while also being very hot. I can write "Meet me at the cherry tree" so we can remember our naivety before the world broke us into our becoming. And you could say that was mystical or mythical, and it could actually just be an invitation to someone I long to kiss. That's it. Think about it, read about it, or don't. I'm boiling. And if anyone knows about those libraries that Fox News said where they are drug-infested sex dens, please let me know. Because where else better to read Anais Nin and Henry Miller than one of those gems? Bye-bye.